So let's bring in the guy who actually broke the story for us, and that is Dan Graziano. Dan, Michael, and Don here. What does this mean now, the tip of the thumb? I mean, how far does this set him back?
Yeah, I don't think it's going to change much. I think we're just trying to get a little clearer picture of what the Giants saw last week. And I think, what I was told about the thumb is that it's the very tip, that he didn't lose like the whole tip down to the knuckle. So it's not like a disastrous addition to what we already knew. But, the middle finger had just been worked on as recently as 3 days before the Giants saw him. He's having all these skin graft procedures that he has to have gradually over time because one has to heal before they can do the next one. They repair the burned fingers, the deep burns, they repair them from the inside out. So not to gross anybody out here, but, he's had several procedures on different portions of his hand over the past couple of months. And what I'm told now is that those procedures are behind him. He's focused on rehab. And, a lot of that is improving the range of motion in his hand, sort of learning how to work with his new hand, the new reality of what his hand is and what's left of it. So the question about when he can be expected to play and at what level, that's the one the Giants can't answer, and that's where their frustration lies. They don't know how to proceed on this because they don't know when they'll see him again, what it'll look like, and what he'll be able to do for them. And the important thing to remember about this, Michael, is that they're not paying this guy minimum wage. If he plays, it's at $871,000 a week. The reason they're scheduled to pay him at that rate is because they franchised him because they think he's an elite producer. And if he's not going to produce at an elite level as a pass rusher, then they're not going to want him back at that salary.
Right. And the Giants aren't playing any games, Dan, because they'd love to have him back. I mean, I know they went up against an elite offensive line
the other night, right?
Yeah, but I know that's a great offensive line, but they couldn't get a sniff of Tony Romo. They need somebody like JPP.
Yeah, there's no difference maker. I mean, those guys are, they might be decent players. They're playing hard, whatever, but they're not. Jason Pierre-Paul at his best is a speed guy around the edge, a physical freak who's 6'5" with super long arms that the offensive lineman can't handle. You can line him up one-on-one with the left tackle and think he might be able to win, even when that left tackle is Tyron Smith or Trent Williams or Jason Peters, the other guys in the division. So the question is he that? Is he still that? And can you expect him to be any semblance of that? And if you can't, then how are you going to justify paying him at a $14.8 million rate for 1 year?
I know this should not be a question that you ask to a reporter who's dealing in facts, but you're also around the team a lot. Do you have a gut feeling if he will be back this year?
I did, but I thought he would be back this year. After he met with the Giants last week, I grew a little more pessimistic based on what I could glean about their reaction to having seen him. Now, I know there's not uniformity of opinion in that building right now, and they hate it when that's the case, or when people think that's the case. But there are people there that think, yeah, we can see him coming back and playing for us this year. There are people there who think, I don't see him playing this year, and I wonder if he'll ever play again. So there's a wide range of opinion, and the reason for that is the unknown. There's no precedent for this. There's nothing they can count on in terms of what they can expect him to do or what they can expect him to be or when. And so, gut feeling is one thing. I could say yes, I could say no, but I'm really guessing, and I wouldn't be surprised either way.
Dan, of course, the other story is just what went down at the end of that game on Sunday, and we're scratching our head here. And just from Eli's side of things,
yeah,
outside of getting hit on the head and losing where you are, there's no excuse for anything that happened. Has anybody been able to put a finger on exactly what's going on with those last three plays of the game?
No, what are the commercials for where they say, like, humans, right, humans, and they have, like, all these stupid things people do, like the person getting their car door ripped off and the tree falling on the car. I mean, they're human. I mean, people do dumb things, and you can't explain why. Eli's out there saying, here's what I did, here's why I did it, it was dumb, it was a mistake, I shouldn't have done it. But I just don't think. I mean, I don't think we're going to find. It's not like when a machine breaks down and you can go into the wiring and say, "Oh, here's what happened." I mean, it's just this is. I know that in his 12th year in the league, Eli Manning's supposed to be a smart veteran that doesn't make mistakes, but he does make mistakes, and this was a big one. And I don't. Or it was three big ones. That's what amazes me. These sort of avalanche of bad decisions that went on from the sideline and in the huddle here. It reminded me a little of that Packers-Seahawks NFC Championship game last year, where the Packers had to mess up about 10 different ways just to let the Seahawks have a chance to win it, and they hit all 10. The Giants were in a similar position. They had to screw up multiple things at the end of that game in order to lose it, and they checked all the boxes.
We're talking with our very own Dan Graziano, who covers the Giants for us. Dan, Coughlin's taking the heat, Eli's taking the heat, and a guy who's kind of flown under the radar is Ben McAdoo. He called the play. Now, Coughlin approved it, and Eli ran it, but he called the play. What happened with him?
Well, first of all, procedurally, you have to understand that the NFL only requires teams to make their coordinators available to the media once a week. The team is free to do more than that if it wants, but the Giants and Tom Coughlin choose not to. So we're only allowed to talk to Ben McAdoo once a week, and with the Giants, it's on Thursdays. I mean, Ben McAdoo walked past us the other night, and he's not allowed to speak after the game, so we couldn't really ask him. So the flip side of that is if you're the Giants and that's your rule, it's because you want everything to come from the head coach. Therefore, the head coach has to be the one standing up there and taking responsibility. It would not be right for Tom Coughlin to refer questions to Ben McAdoo post-game and then say, but you can't ask him until Thursday, right? So he owns it. It's his responsibility, and you're right. He can veto the call and has, I'm sure. I think, McAdoo's a second-year coordinator. He's the second-year calling plays. The reviews last year on him were good, but if he called this one, then and we'll find out Thursday. We'll ask him directly, and I'm sure he'll answer. If he called this one, then obviously he will join the chorus of Giants voices admitting to a mistake that cost them a game.
Great stuff, Dan. Thanks for popping on with us.
Thanks, Dan.
My pleasure, guys.